People who play golf know that there's typically that one great shot that brings you back for the next round. That one booming drive down the fairway. That one great iron that goes up and down and sticks right next to the flag. Or that one long putt that you kind of coax in using body language and it drops in the hole. Well, life at times is like that as well. There are those magic moments that make life worth living. We see in this week's Torah portion that when a person experienced that type of special occasion, he could offer thanks in a very public way to God. He could go to the tabernacle, the Mishkan, or later to the temple and bring a sacrifice, a certain type of sacrifice called a carbon shlomim, a voluntary one that could be brought at any time a person felt the need to publicly thank or express gratitude to God. But nowadays, we don't have a Mishkan, and we don't have a temple, so it's not easy to publicly thank God. But fortunately for me, because I shoot these videos, I figured this was an opportunity to say thanks to the man upstairs. Because 2 days ago, I experienced a magic moment in my life when my oldest son got married. It's still surreal. It still hasn't sunk in yet that he's a married man. But those incredible memories that I'm sure will last the rest of my life of those beaming faces of my son and my new daughter-in-law and all of our friends and relatives who celebrated with us, that's not something that I'm going to forget. I can't share with you all of the feelings, but I can share with you some of the thoughts that I had when my wife and I walked our son arm in arm down the aisle towards the chuppah, towards the wedding canopy. My son chose a particularly appropriate song to be played while he walked down the aisle. A song that quoted the words from the famous prayer of Jacob, Yaakov, before he went to meet his brother from whose murderous rage he had fled so many years before. And when he prayed to God, he said that I am diminished from all the kindnesses that you've done for me, God. And that's how I felt. I felt humbled. I was so thankful that I'd had that opportunity to walk my son down the aisle. You can't take that or anything for granted in life. My own father was walked down the aisle at his wedding by his mother and his uncle, because his father, Harry Rothenberg, for whom I'm named, passed away before my father got married. So I was so thankful that I was able to celebrate that occasion and that my son got to see his grandparents, my parents and my wife's parents, also walk down the aisle at his wedding. But I also felt a sense of validation. I felt that in some way I was important. When I was younger and I first heard about and then learned about and then studied about the Holocaust, it had a deep effect on me. And I was thinking that I just wish there was something I could do. There's no such thing as a time machine. I can't go back in history and put a bullet in Hitler's head. So what can I do? And I felt that what I could do was make a commitment to Jewish continuity. Make a commitment that if God would bless me and introduce me to the right woman, which he later did, and then if he would bless me with children, which he also did, I'd make every effort to raise them with the proper Jewish values and the strongest Jewish identity possible, to try to bring back some of what was taken away, to in my own small way do something for Jewish continuity, do something to rebuild the Jewish people. I have a friend who, thank God, has many children. And when they were younger and he'd bring them to a playground, sometimes a person would say to him, "Are they all yours?" And he would say yes. And the person would say, "How many kids are you planning to have?" And he would look the person in the eye and he would say, 6 million. I have another friend who always tells young Jewish couples that they should try to have one more child than they think they can handle, because that's our responsibility, to try to rebuild the Jewish people. And so what a moment to be able to walk my son down so that he could now, hopefully with God's blessing, add another link to that chain of Jewish continuity. It was overwhelming. I have no words other than thank you to God.
קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל האמת אשר עשית את עבדך